Hey guys, hope you're having a great day. Tim here in the Revolved Realty Studio. Got some special guests on today who are going to talk about hopefully some financial options. If you are a small business owner and you are struggling during this corona crisis, these folks may have a solution for you. But before we begin, let me introduce my old pals, Johny and Janice Gilbreath. How are you folks?
Great, thank you.
Hey, we're doing great today, Tim. Thanks for having us.
Hey, we appreciate you coming on because I've got so many folks worried about, how they're going to stay in business. Someone said the other day that this coronavirus could probably kill way more businesses than it does people. And so, I'm an old 30-year entrepreneur, so I'm always concerned about that sort of thing. But we're going to talk about an unsecured line of credit option for folks today. Before we get started, though, tell me a little bit about you guys. Tell the folks who you are.
Well, Tim, I've been in the mortgage business for 30 years, and I'm still in the mortgage business. I want everybody to know that. We did several pre-approvals yesterday, so we're still blowing and going on that. But
blowing and going.
Yeah, blowing and going. As we said, we have not stopped. But this opportunity is something that has just recently come our way to offer this in the southeast region of the United States.
Okay.
ARF is one of 4 lenders like this that do unsecured business lines. So when you ask us to do this show, we're very excited because we think this could be a lifeline to a lot of people that are out there that need some help at this time.
Okay. I have to say up front, my lawyer makes me do this. I'm not affiliated with ARF in any way. I'm not receiving any kind of compensation. The views and the claims are strictly yours, Janice. I am just bringing this information to the public who may be in need of it. So now that I got all that out of the way, we can actually talk. So tell me a little bit about the company is ARF Financial. Who are they?
Well, they're a company affiliated out of California, and basically it's a bank type loan. We get a lot of our referrals from the business loan officers in our various areas. That's where most of our clients come from, are the bankers that cannot help their clients that maybe they've maxed out. So it is that interim type of financing between the bank and a high interest loan that would be compounded. And you hear the word MCAs. A lot of business owners get caught up in MCAs, which are compounded daily loans.
Right. This is basically a line of credit that a company can set up, tap as needed. I've had lines of credits for 30 years, so I'm kind of familiar with this sort of thing. So how did you guys get involved with ARF?
Well, it was very interesting. As I said, I've been in the mortgage business for 30 years. And years ago, when I had a broker shop here in Huntsville, I hired a lady by the name of Catherine Castle. And she was coming from California. She was a loan officer for us for many years. Then we were in mutual businesses in the wholesale lending for many years. And her mother got sick. She's been out in California for a number of years, and she has been doing mortgages. And then she contacted me and she said, I've got something that I think you are going to love for your area, and I need you to represent us. So it was just something that has transpired. And now with what's going on in our environment, it's such a timely thing. And I'm so glad that we have that connection.
Yeah, I am too, because as I said, I've had lines of credit in the past, and I know how hard it can be to get a bank loan. It can be hard. So this is a good alternative. Let's talk a little bit about who this is for. If I'm a small business owner, I've got the list here, and it's pretty extensive, but what type of businesses would be qualified to do this kind of loan?
Tim, one of the businesses that we do most of our loans with is the restaurant business. And primarily banks don't really want to do loans for restaurants.
Right.
So this is a great conduit for them. Also, there are a lot of people possibly looking at some SBA loans, but we know that SBA loans are going to take a long time to process,
Mm-hmm.
and this could be a good bridge loan for them on that. But if you look down the list, we can do bars, nightclubs, taverns, hotels, motels, beds and breakfast, coffee shops, smoothie shops, candy stores.
Anybody that is still doing, if a restaurant or any of those that Johnny just mentioned are doing takeout, as long as they're open, we can do that.
Right.
Now, one thing that Johnny's going to mention here, think about what all is really accelerating during this time.
Restaurants with deliveries,
Mm-hmm.
ammo stores, liquor stores that sell wine and liquor, grocery stores that have produce and meat departments, hardware stores, jewelry stores, photo studios, quick copy centers, and the big thing is they need to have been in business 3 years.
Okay.
And they need to be. Jan, you want to give them some more of the details on some of the qualifications?
Yeah, let me, before you do that, Janice, let me just kind of run down the list, and we can make this available as a download, or folks can get in touch with you. A lot of retail type stuff, a lot of hospitality, but I also notice dentists, doctors, veterinarians, orthodontists. So it's not just restaurants or service people. It can be medical practices, what have you. And if it's okay, we can make this a download from this.
One thing right now, as long as the business is open, Tim, we do know that veterinarians are still open. We do know that urgent cares are open. Right now, most dentists are not open.
Yeah, so that is one of the requirements is the business has to be open.
Now, here's something that we want to point out. Once everything is lifted and everybody is trying to jumpstart, as long as they get back open, then we can review it. Just because they're having this pause in their business does not mean we cannot help them once they get back and going. And that's going to be a real important factor because, as Johnny just mentioned, these SBA loans, as helpful as they're going to be, you and I both know when they're associated with the government, it's going to take a while. I know your guest last week, y'all were talking about it. I've been on several seminars this week. But I think with the number of people that's going to be applying for these loans, I think it's going to take a lot longer than they anticipate.
Yeah. The government wheels always turn slowly, and when there's a crisis, they turn even slower. And so, all right, well, let's talk about what are, Janice, the requirements for someone to qualify for one of these loans other than having their doors open.
Okay, I'm going to go over this briefly. And one of the key factors about the ARF loans is that it is minimal paperwork. So we're looking for 3 months of their most recent bank statements.
Okay.
And I would probably go back 4 months now because we know that there's been some interruption in business in March. And then we're going to also want their annual sales, and then if it's a restaurant, we would like their credit card statement. Now, you're probably saying, why the credit card statement, Janice? Well, a lot of restaurants have these MCA accounts. Now, we will refinance restaurants out of these.
Explain what an MCA account is, Janice.
Okay, it's a merchant credit account. And it is like
it's a credit card
American
processor.
Express will loan to XYZ restaurant $50,000. They take that out daily out of these people's account. I'm sure right now this is probably strangling a lot of restaurants that have these. We will refinance people out if they have up to 2. We cannot help them if they have 3. But if they have up to 2, we can do that. Now, a couple of other qualifications. And again, you're going to have this information and we'll go over how they can get in touch with me. But this is just briefly a credit score of 651 or greater,
Okay.
times in the business 3 years. We want home ownership, the annual sales of 750,000. Now, here's what we can do. Let's say that someone owns 3 sandwich shops or 3 Papa John locations. That would be 3 locations combined on the same tax ID number.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it wouldn't be per location. It would be per tax number on this.
Okay.
Now, the loan cap right now, because we have lowered it, and right now we are seeing we are giving more money than anyone out there. If they qualify, we can go up to $150,000. They can pay back over 78 weeks. We have a lot of different options available. We even have an interest only available from that. But Tim, I wanted to just say, we've done businesses for Subway, Buffalo Wild Wings, Holiday Inn, Domino's, Applebee's, Sonics. I know that someone last month, I think it was Louisiana, did 3 Papa John locations. So, it can either be the smaller business person or they can be a franchise on that.
Okay. Let me rerun those down. They need you're going to need 3 months worth of bank statements.
Yes, sir.
You're going to need a record of annual sales, credit card statements, FICO of 651. Is that a personal FICO or a company?
Yes,
Personal,
that
right?
is a personal.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I don't know. Companies have FICO?
They get
I don't
rated
think so.
on Dun and Bradstreet.
That's
rate.
it. I knew there was a DB there somewhere. They need to be in business a minimum of 3 years. They have to own their own home. What is the reason for that? Is that just showing credit worthiness or what?
Yes, and stability.
Okay.
Before this, we did not have that as a criteria, but I think that because of the time we're in right now, and again, we could shift back.
Right.
But I think that someone that owns a home, you and I both know, you being a realtor, it just shows that they are stable.
Yeah. Okay. And then annual sales of at least 750. What is the application process?
You want to go over that?
Yeah, we
John?
have just a short 2-page application that they would send. We would give them a list of documentations that we need to be sent in, like the bank statements and driver's license and
if they're corporation.
and if they're a corporation or whatever. And then we send that in. They look at it, approve it. Normally we can close and fund within 10 days, 10 to 14
okay.
days.
It's a very quick process, Tim, and that's why it's really great to be able to do this. This isn't going to be like the government. We're not going to linger this on. In fact, a lot of times after we send in the paperwork, they'll call us up usually in about 2 days and say, this looks really good, we're moving forward. So there's not a lot of lag time there.
Right. Okay. What and we don't have to go into specific rates, but I would assume the rates for this are typical of what lines of credit typically are.
Yes, it is. It's typical of an alternate type financing. Of course, your bank rates are going to be the best, the prime.
Right.
The MCAs are running about 34%. We're at about 18%.
Yeah.
So we're right in the middle of where those are. It is a simple interest loan, though.
Okay.
And the interest is tax deductible. So that's something to
Gotcha.
note on that.
So it's a little higher than a bank loan, but it is under MCA and credit cards and that sort of thing.
It would be similar to a credit card.
Well,
it's actually lower than a credit card. I would
Lower
think.
than a credit
yeah.
card,
It's a little lower than a credit card, but we think that we're right in there because we are not collateralizing anything. That's one thing we want to stress.
That's what I was going to ask. These are uncollateralized loans.
Yes,
That's
they're not going to attach it to your home or the the huge freezer in the back that's worth $200,000. They're not going to attach it to anything. So it's really a great opportunity to have that cash infusion in your business for right now.
Right. And I would assume it works like a standard line of credit where you qualify for a certain amount, the line of credit is set up, and then you draw down on that line of credit and pay back over time.
Yes, you can have up to 5 draws a year out of that line of credit.
Okay. Very good.
Yes. And with having the 5 draws, what we will do, we will qualify them for the maximum. Let's say they don't qualify for 150,000, but they qualify for 100,000, and they want to take out 50,000 on their first draw, or they want to take out 100,000. We do not put any limitations on that.
Gotcha. And the payback period is, what did you say, 78 weeks? Okay. And hopefully we'll be through all this mess before 78 weeks.
That's right. Yeah. And that's why we do have an interest-only option.
Great option.
And again, we try to get and structure these where they're advantageous to our customer. So if we do an interest-only, let's say they say, okay, we're getting an SBA loan, and think that we'll probably get it in 90 days. Okay, great. All we ask is that they keep it for 6 weeks. Then there's no prepayment penalty. There is nothing involved in that.
So if they're going to apply for SBA loans or some other assistance, this could be a really good way to bridge that gap. Because if you apply for an SBA loan, it could take a long time to get. And there are other organizations that are offering short-term bridge loans as well. But the thing that I've always liked about a line of credit is once you've got it set up, you know it's there. The key is to not abuse it. That's the hard part.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to mention is that let's say you and your partner have come to an agreement that one wants to buy the other one out. This line of credit could be used to buy your partner out.
Oh, okay.
Let's say during this time that, people have said, you know what, I've always wanted to go to Colorado and do something, be a ski instructor, who knows, somebody may come to that awakening during this time,
Right.
So they're like, okay, cool, I'm glad, they can use this money to buy them out and say, good luck, it's been great.
Right.
So that's another factor. We don't ask really what the money is being used for. We just want to be of assistance to whatever they need. And just like you said, it's a safety net knowing that you've got that money available if you need it.
Yeah. My 30 years in business, I have always had a line of credit just there. It's kind of like the HELOC in my house. I don't use it unless I really, really need it. And one of the things you said early on was, once everybody starts going back to work, that's really when a lot of businesses need money, is when things really start gearing back up and the cost hit and that sort of thing. Couple of things before we end here. Tell me about, are there application or maintenance fees?
There are fees. Yes, there is a fee, and it's just one fee, and it's 3%, and it is included in the loan amount. So they do not have to come any out-of-pocket fees. There are not any other fees involved in that. So
it's just standard closing fee, basically.
Yeah, it's just a closing fee. Yes, sir.
Okay. Very good.
One thing I wanted to mention, at this time when employment for a lot of people are kind of iffy, this type loan could help you keep a vital employed, giving you cash flow to pay that individual. So that would be something to look at too, that you don't lose an individual to go somewhere else.
Yeah. Is this renewable?
It can be renewable, but not on the information that you have provided.
Okay.
If you pay off one, then we would, look at certainly wanting to do another loan for you on that.
Very good. All right, guys, I will attach the information to the video. Tell folks how to get in touch with you. First of all, plug your mortgage company.
Okay, I want to say a few things.
Go right ahead.
expand on commercial.
Okay.
We have talked about representing ARF Financial, but we also have means to, if you have a commercial building right now that has a lot of equity in it, we do refinances on commercial businesses,
Okay.
of shopping centers, apartment buildings, commercial buildings. You have a small doctor's office. If, any of those things, also we do purchase money on those items too. So we have other commercial money available that we can do.
Okay.
Johny and I are at Geneva Financial, and as I said earlier, we are busy pre-approving people during this time. We just had a gentleman last night that's a FedEx driver. My goodness, how important those people are right now. So our mortgage company and our commercial business, we are very, very busy trying to help people during this time. But the best way to get in touch with me is Janice Gilbreath, GILBREATH @gmail.com. And my phone number is 256-509-4776. And I know you have a lot of Facebook followers, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
You can also PM me on that. I would be more than happy to respond. And Johny, I think you've got something you want to add.
What was I going to add? I forgot.
Well.
I love it. I love it. Good old Johny.
You know what? I know what he was going to add, but
Go ahead. What was he going to say, Janice?
well, is one thing that we do that is really kind of a specialty is farm loans. We go up to 150 acres with a home or a barn dominium. And this is why this is important. I think right now, a lot of people, since they're cooped up in the city, are going to be looking for land outside the city. Don't you, Tim?
I did. We're looking for land every day. Yeah.
Yes. So that is a specialty item that I think that we offer. And Johny and I were just talking about it this morning, but it's going to change all of us when this is finished, as far as what we're wanting, what we're doing, and all that. And we're here to help people with those needs. But more than anything, I want to thank you for being able to let us bring our message of hope for these small business owners.
Excellent.
And we do appreciate it.
Hey guys, I appreciate you as always. Y'all do an awful lot for the folks around here, and you help us out all the time. So Janice and Johny will put all the contact information below, and we will try to get the word out for you guys, and hopefully you can help some of our business folks here in town. So
Thank you, Tim.
Great, Tim.
all right,
Thank
talk
you,
to you
sir.
soon.
Bye-bye.